Good afternoon. This is Paul Lennon, and thank you for bearing with me one more time. Tape 24 in my saga, Life in the Legion of Christ. And we're entering chapter 11 today, which is called Regrouping. I also thought of it today as transitioning and recovering. And so it's even though we're still going to be scrambling around, it's also scrambling. So today you'll hear about me scrambling. Uh, I want to make a little parenthesis here because they talk about you who have been watching or listening to the tapes, and you've seen a lot of suffering, perhaps, or at least a lot of emotion. And some of the viewers have been showing great concern and compassion towards me because they've seen me, go through these difficult moments, these painful moments. Uh, but I wouldn't like you to be too alarmed. Thank you very much. I appreciate caring. But I don't forget that, I tape and then I get on with my life. That was then, and I live in the now. So I don't dwell on this after I've finished my taping, no matter how painful it might seem to you. So do not be, too concerned. Um, And to a certain extent, I just thought that when I get here, I'm performing. We all do when we get in front of a screen or something or a mic. Take on our kind of acting role, and we Irish, we're pretty good at that. So there is a little bit of acting here. There's some maybe I wouldn't say histrionics, but there's some acting. We can't help it. So we're okay. Now, one of the things that I have used in my story has been music, and it's accompanied me all during my life. And I want to give credit to the Legion of Christ because in the Legion I was exposed to classical music, perhaps for the first time ever. So when I was 17, 18, when I traveled to Salamanca, Spain, and then in Rome, during our special free times, we could listen to classical music. Father Maciel allowed us to listen to instrumental music because music could not be too, what's the word? It could not be too profane. So there. Anyway, I had learned some appreciation for classical music. So this helped me to broaden my appreciation for music. And so music is an important part of my life. Besides the fact that I like to go around humming and singing and getting on people's nerves, which can happen, that's the way I am. And it's something that's pretty healing for me. It's very spontaneous and it's pretty healing. So right now, during coronavirus, I was commenting with Aura, with my wife. We're exchanging music now during our separation, geographic separation, excuse me. And so, we send nice music to each other. I hope you're doing the same. Nice music. I'm saying a broad range of music and not junk music. That's my opinion anyway. I don't think that. I mean, it doesn't touch me. It doesn't seem to me as very enriching. That's enriching music. And what have I put here? Um, Music that's certainly not depressing, for goodness sake, right? So instrumental music and music that can be uplifting. And I also put relaxing music and fulfilling music. Where did I say that beautiful stuff that I was talking about? So that's what I mean. So we can all do this during the lockdown. Now, there's something we have to take into account that people don't know this. I'm telling you one of my personal secrets. I'm an introvert and we're in a minority. So you might say that two-thirds of the whole world population, no matter where they're from, we call them, because we're youngins, we call them extroverts. And an extrovert is a person that gets their energy from outside. And we introverts get a lot of energy from inside. Okay, so the extroverts are the ones who are going to suffer more during lockdown. Why? Because um, they, they need other people in a special way. They need to interact with other people, and mostly interaction for an extrovert is face to face. It's conversation, it's chatting, it's meeting, it's being in crowds, being among other people. This is the extrovert is in, they're in their wonderful moment, and to be locked down is just a killer, naturally a killer for extroverts. Um, and also extroverts, for some reason, they always seem to know what's going on. You know, I need an extrovert to tell me, hey, what's going on out there? Because I'm still in here. Okay, so that's another thing. So now they're into the news, and they're watching all the news, and they're glued to the TV stations and to the TV screen. And there's a lot of junk coming in through the TV screen. So I would suggest that you be a little bit more selective in what you want, and that you don't overdose, because there's a lot of junk coming through right now. And I'm hearing a lot of my friends, even close friends, talking about conspiracy theories, which are not my forte. And I just don't go there. A lot of my friends do. Just tell you, you've got to be honest. The psychologists and psychotherapists, youngins, we say that an extrovert is here and now. He or she lives in the present, here and now. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's like Rodney Dangerfield, the American comedian. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? That kind of thing. And so now and where? That's the extrovert. And we introverts are now, where, nowhere. That's just a little joke. Time to reflect. And we introverts do this very naturally, but sometimes extroverts don't, because they're always on the outside very often. So it's time to take stock. I would invite you for that. Take stock if you want to. Um, is there something you could or should stop doing? There's the question. And that's like a question for extroverts, maybe. And for us introverts, the other question is, for anybody, is there something we need to start doing? Are we sitting on our little behinds here, very content with the lockdown, instead of being a little bit more extroverted? Is there something more I could be doing? Should I be helping more? There's some incredible stories now going around. People, going from one part of other California to New York to help. That is an example for us, especially introverts. So let's get back to little Paul Lennon here for a while, and he's with his regrouping, and I'm trying to be rather short today if possible. But in regrouping, remember each chapter, and this is chapter 11, begins with an R, regrouping. And I find the citation from Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse very enlightening today, and I think it kind of fits in very well with the chapter. So, who's inspired? Siddhartha, Hermann Hesse. He breathed in deeply, and for a moment he shuddered. Nobody was so alone as he. He lost everything. Remember, he was with the Samanas and now walked away from them into the horizon. He was no nobleman belonging to any aristocracy. no artisan belonging to any guild and finding refuge in it, sharing his life and language. He was no Brahmin, no priest for him. Sharing his life with the Brahmins, no ascetic belonging to the Samanas. Even the most secluded hermit in the woods was not one and alone. He also belonged to a class of people. Govinda had become a monk, and thousands of monks were his brothers, wore the same gown, shared his beliefs, and spoke his language. But he, Siddhartha, where did he belong? Whose life did he share? Whose language did he speak? At that moment, when the world around him melted away, when he stood alone like a star in the heavens, he was overwhelmed by a feeling of icy despair. Not me, but he was more firmly himself than ever. This is what I'm saying. That was the last shudder of his awakening, the last pains of birth. Immediately he moved on again and began to walk quickly and impatiently, no longer homewards, no longer to his father, no longer looking backwards. Paul Lennon, he was no longer a legionary of Christ, but he was hanging on to something. He was hanging on to his priesthood with his fingertips. Now, for today, we shall continue. Thank you for being here.